This is Amud Yomi Gemara in Shabbos Daf. Yud Zayin Amud Beis, and we're holding on the very bottom of Yud Zayin Amud Aleph, the final two words, V'idach Amar, and we're continuing to discuss the Yud Ches Davar, the 18 Gezeros that were made by Isayim, that the Talmidei Shammai were more numerous than Beis Hillel. Says the Gemara on the top of Yud Zayin Amud Beis, Tavi Rishba. That was his name. It was Tavi. That was his name. And Rishba, he was a hunter. Amar Shmuel said the name of Shmuel Af Gidulei Truma. Also, the halacha of that the growth of Truma is Truma. Boy Bayoim Gazu. They made a gzeira that if you take Truma, you put it in the ground, and then you plant it. That which grows maintains the same status of Truma like the item itself. You could create Truma, an incredible gezerah. Says Gemara, my time, 2 lines down, the second line, excuse me. What's the reason for this gezerah? Amar Rav Chanina gezerah misham Truma tahira biyad Yisrael. It's a gezerah because of Truma tahira biyad Yisrael. And Rashi, the third line from the top, explains that let's say someone has Truma, he doesn't want to give it to the kohen. So he says, I have a great idea. I'll plant it. And then whatever grows is no longer Truma. And I'll get out of giving away the Truma. So we made a Gzeira. You plant it. You're just going to create more Truma. Teretz number 1 of Rav Chanina. My Rava, another teretz, excuse me, says Rava Kasha. If you're worried about this, you're worried that this Yisrael is not going to be giving Truma appropriately. Maybe he's just not going to be mafresh Truma at all. Hello, Marava. Yisrael, since you can really pot yourself on the Daraisa level like Shmuel holds with one chit, with one stalk, and he didn't clearly. V'loy this guy did not batter himself with one stalk. Therefore, therefore we would not be concerned that he would try to circumvent Truma by planting it. So what's the reason for this gezerah that everything that grows from Truma is Truma? Ella. So rather, says Rava, a second shot, gezerah misham Truma timeya biyad kohen. That what? A kohen has Truma timeya. So what might he do? He can't eat the Truma timeya. So he thinks, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll go and I'll plant it so that I can eat that which grows. But he's going to be Dilma Mashile Gabe. He might hold on to it by himself. It's going to come to a takala. It's going to come to the fact that it might be matame other things, etc. We look at Rashi on the third narrow line. Rashi says, "Gazer shetei b'shema harishain." That is truma tamei the chayshina do mashila ad zman zuriya v'aslemecha b'tomasai. If he plans on planting it, he might hold on to it, and in the interim, he might Rachman al eat it. So therefore, we make things here. So 2 reasons for this gezerah, that everything that grows from truma has the status of truma. Ve'edach, continues the Gemara. So what's the next gezerah? So that was, I think we're up to gezerah 11 or 12. Ve'edach, says the Gemara, Amar Rav Chia bar Ami mishmei deula. 2 dots, about 10 lines down. Avi shechshich le'baderach, someone's traveling on a Friday, and it gets very late, and it becomes Shabbos. So now he's holding his wallet, he's holding his items, he can't carry anything. There's no erev where he is. So they made a gzeira, noisin kisel enachri baybayim gazer. They made a gzeira that you're allowed to give your wallet to a guy. Usually you can't give your wallet to a guy and have him carry it for you on Shabbos. There's no erev, carrying Zadaraisa. You can't have a guy do that for you. But they made this gzeira, as Rashi points out, the reason being, not Rashi, other Mepharshim point out, that we don't, Rashi says, we don't let you carry it in small increments because we're nervous you're going to come to be over a deraisa of carrying. So to prevent the deraisa, we are a little bit more liberal and makel on Amira, Liakim, and letting a guy carry it for you. Continues the Gemara Vedach, 15 lines down. The first 4 line is Vedach after the 2 dots. Amar Bali, Amar Avimi, Sanvasa, says Bali in the name of Avimi from Sanvasa. Pitan ushmana v'yenan u'b'noisean, the bread of Goyim, the wine, the oil, and their daughters, all of these cases, kulan b'shmenas davar, the gzeira was all of the yirchas davar. We can have yayin esach, we can have pas akum, bread of the Goyim, wine, etc. These are all part of the yirchas davar, but if you have to be careful that, as Rashi says, kuloi chadehi, They're all one of the Gezeras. Because if you can start counting these as 4, Pita and Yain and Shemanim and B'nai Seyam, we're very quickly going to have more than 18. So Rashi quickly tells us that all these were one Gezerah. Says the Gemara, Hani Rameir. This is good according to Rameir. El Rav Yosi Shivasan Have. Says the Gemara, 1 second. According to Rav Yosi, we only have 17 Gezerahs. Because Rav Yosi said, we look at Rashi, and Rashi fills us in, that the reason being is because the case that we had 2-3 days ago of putting your kalim underneath the pipe, Rav Meir considered that one of the Yudches Davar. But Rav Yosi disagreed. And therefore, according to Rav Yosi, what did he say? The Gemara over there taught us that the B'nai Kusim was one of the Gezeras. But says the Gemara, we just learned Pita and Yenam Shemenam, seemingly that's part of the Yirches Davar. So B'nai Seyam. So B'nai Seyam sounds like the same thing as B'nai Kusim. So says the Gemara, what does Rav Yosi do? Now it's true, Tais over here is a little bit upset that we had another person that doesn't work with, which is Rav Tarfin. But either way, says the Gemara, there's another Gezerah of Rav Achabar the Amar Rav Achabar Amar Rav Yitzchak Gazu al Pitan Misham Shmeinan Val Shmeinan Misham Yenan. A Pitan Misham Shmeinan, Mayol Misham de Pas. What does that mean? They made Gezerah on the bread because of their oil. Why is oil more reason to be geyser than bread? It doesn't make any sense, says the Gemara. El Gazu Pitan Ushmanan Misham Yenan. It was all Gezerah because of their wine. Val Yenam, why do they make the Gezerah on wine? Mishon ben Isayim, because they're daughters. Val ben Isayim, why? Mishon davar acher, which is Avodah Zarah. Val davar acher, Mishon davar acher. My davar acher, what's this last davar acher that they made Gezerah on the Avodah Zarah because of something else? I'm Rav Nachman Yitzchak. Gazru al tinaik nachri shemetame beziva, that they become tame ziva shleitinag Yisrael ragel atzlai b'mishkav zachar. We don't want the Jewish boys to be playing together with the non-Jewish boys. Why? Because they could come to situations of mishkav zachar. So that was an additional gezerah. He says the Gemara, 1 second. Ramir nami chisan avar havyon. Now we have too many. Now we have 19 because we just added on 2. Says the Gemara. Excuse me. We just according to Rameir. According to Rav Yosi, we now have 18. According to Rameir, who you already had 18. This last gezerah of the Gaisha children, we have 19. Answers the Gemara. One of the previous ones that we spoke about, back on Yudaladim and Beis, that Eichlin and Kalim become Tamei b'mashkin, that was all one gezerah. That concludes probably of the hardest, just the hardest due to concepts that we're not so familiar with, Amudim, Tafim, and Masechah Shabbos, the famous Yudches Davar. And with that, we move on to a new Mishnah, a little bit of an easier Mishnah, Baruch Hashem, the bottom quarter of Yitzayin Mabis. You're not allowed to soak ink, dyes, karshinim is type of animal food, even on Erev Shabbos. Ela Kadesh Shirim V'Yayim. It has to finish soaking on Friday. It can't do an act of soaking into Shabbos. Beisil Matirim. Beisil says, what's wrong? You started on Friday. Who cares if the item is getting the dye soaked into it on Shabbos? Similarly, number 2, Beishami Aimrim. You're not put flax into the oven unless it becomes fully heated during the day. You can't put the wool into the dye as well, unless it's going to have time to absorb the color while it's still day. Number 3, you cannot spread traps for animals, birds, or fish during Friday, unless it's going to be trapped during the day. However, Beisil Matiri and Beisil allows all these cases. Case number 4, Beishamir Mein Meichel Achri, you cannot sell before we get to Meichel Achri. This is similar, but let's just explain. This is the Gzeira of Shvisas Kalim. Beishameh holds that your items can't be working for you on Shabbos. You started it on Friday. What did I do wrong? I took the wool, I put it into the dye on Friday. No, because if there's going to be an act of dyeing happening on Shabbos, that's disallowed. You're not allowed to do that. That's forbidden. What do you mean I didn't do anything? Your utensils themselves, say Beishamai, as well, cannot be doing any work for you on Shabbos, as we'll see more elaborately in the Gemara. Fourth case, which is a drop further of an application, cannot sell something to a guy, cannot load to his animal together with him, cannot put something for him on his load, unless he reaches the place before Shabbos. Number 5, you cannot give hides to a tanner, nor laundry to a gayish, a laundryman, unless they finish doing it during the day. In all these cases, Beis Hillel says it's okay. As we move over to Yirches Amud Aleph, Ima Shemesh, while it is still Friday. Amar Rashbag, Noyigin Hayu Beis Abba, my father's household was Noyig Shei Noistin Kli Lavan Lekayves Nachri. They would give white clothes to a gayish, a laundryman, Shleisha Yom Kodim Shabbos. V'shavin Elu Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel both agree. Shetayin encourages Beisavad V'gulei Agas. You're allowed to put the olive press, you're allowed to put the planks of the wine press on Friday, even though it's going to be pressing it into Shabbos. That case, they all agree. Siyat Shemai will pick it up for the Gemara, which we'll understand more. These machlekes in Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel.